What do you want to be remembered for?
I might cry here.
Chase and Hunter Farrior of Spring Legion and Austin Collins. He is the founder and host of Quack Shack Podcast. Kind of a turkey hunter was your dad.
It's a good one.
Yeah, a really
Very
good
good
one.
I never even took my safety off. That was the moment I knew I was ate up.
What do you want to be remembered for?
I might cry here. We didn't shoot a bird. And he said, this is so much fun. Like all on his own. So it was pretty cool.
G'day mates, it's your host Mary O'Neill Phillips and you are listening to Country Outdoors Podcast.
All right, guys. We are back here with Chase and Hunter Farrior of Spring Legion, and Zach Phillips is my husband. Zach Phillips has actually joined us for this one too. I really wanted him to join in on this one because these guys love turkey hunting. Zach loves turkey hunting, and we've really never been able to sit down and like get the full story. Zach has loved your books. He just bought one of the vests, so let's chat about it. What you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in South Georgia, and I think our background is somewhat similar in our love for turkey hunting. And when the brand popped up, I'm assuming you were inspired by some Tom Kelly and similar influences that I had. So, first of all, props to you for writing a book, because I couldn't do that.
Well, appreciate it, obviously. And it was a little bit taller of a task than I thought. But to be able to do that and just to continue on, like you said, there's a lot of high regard for Colonel Kelly and kind of hence the name and everything with the brand and being a bridge between old and new in the realm of turkey hunting. It was cool to kind of just be thrown into that same arena of folks that I look up to, and he's obviously one of the ones I look up to most. So yeah, but
I was telling Chase yesterday, it's like from my perspective, I've been in this space since I was 16 or 17 in one capacity or another, and it's cool to see two guys start a brand and do what you're doing as just brothers doing it, not a conglomerate, not big investors, just like grassroots building a community. To me, is very cool.
Yeah, we're still flipping an $8 hat, pretty much. That's all it started as, and like no investment stuff or anything, or like big partners and stuff, and then it's and that's probably for the best because most of the things that we're doing, we're figuring out as we go. So like we're pretty much not tying anybody else into all these like painful, like bad decisions that we've made in the past. And like, yeah, that one's on me, but you know, at least somebody else doesn't have to like bear that burden of finding out the hard way on a lot of it.
What did you find out the hard way on?
Where to start?
Yeah, a lot of it. I've messed up a lot of different pieces of apparel, but the funniest one was probably.
We have two, by the way.
Oh, it's so easy to do. And then, but so this would have been pretty early, like less than a year probably since it began, going through the whole trademark stuff, which I had to be the lawyer, the accountant, everything pretty much. And so I tried to file it by myself, and I did successfully. But then there's this period of opposition you can have, and like anybody in the world can oppose it if they find it similar, and they have a lot of like bots do that for them. So there was this brand in France that Spring something, I don't know, but they made like tennis shoes, like literal like play like Serena Williams tennis shoes, and they're like a really big one over there. I didn't know that, obviously. And so they came and they sent a letter and stuff, and I'm like, well, I can do this. This is easy. And I told them, I was like, I don't need a lawyer. I'll represent myself because I had no money. And they're like, okay, deal. We're going to do it in French, though, because we the ones who are doing this. And I'm like, well, so that was interesting. I didn't know they threw a curveball there. So then I had to like be my own lawyer and also do it in French.
So how good is your French now?
Good enough. You know, we got to figure it out. And I was like, all right, we're good. And they're like, yeah, we're good. We're like, cool. You know.
What was the decision then?
It was, I negotiated with them that I'm not going to put Spring Legion on a pair of athletic shoes. And that was it. And I like had to put in there because this was well before the Gators and stuff came along. So any type of protection, I could put it on. And they were cool with that. They're like, yeah, it's to keep you from getting confused. I'm like, look, lady, I don't know if you know what like bottomland is, but I don't think we ain't getting confused. Don't worry. You know?
I mean, some of the young Southern turkey hunters might want some running shoes, but
yeah, maybe. You're not gonna find one in Spring Legion. So
I want to go back a little bit to you guys as like young boys and when you actually first got into hunting, because obviously the brand started much later, but let's go back there. Mississippi boys.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about growing up in Mississippi and when you guys went on your first hunts.
Yep.
You would have. Well, I mean, as far as I can remember, I mean, Dad was riding us around in the trucks when we were in diapers. You know, we were going whether it was running dogs, fox hunting, and all this other stuff he was doing, deer hunting, turkey hunting. I mean, we just were stuck with him. You know, if Mom didn't want us at the house, we were in the truck with him going hunting somewhere. So
Single cab, by the way.
single cab, yeah. There was many days he was like, well, that was gobbling right over here. I'm gonna just y'all are good. Y'all are strapped in those car seats. Y'all just hang out for a few minutes. I got the windows down. You know, let's roll. He slide back 30 minutes later. You know,
Yeah.
and we were just kind of born in it and didn't have really another option. But we didn't complain about it one bit. We just always were in it.
And that's the mess we kind of hone in on, just being cut from, the cloth of a turkey hunter. And that had a lot to do with, the first days or the mission behind starting a brand to kind of encapsulate those who are cut from the cloth of a turkey hunter. And I think turkey hunters are different. I think they're just different folks. They hold them, their demeanor's different, especially in the spring than folks who are able to do a lot more in the outdoors and kind of the all around, woodsman. And just a lot of respect to the bird and stuff, but also a lot of respect to those who do hunt them, particularly in the Southeast where we're from. And, it was a big deal to be called a turkey hunter. I don't take that lightly. So if someone calls me a turkey hunter, I think that's like the best compliment you can hit, instead of like someone who's good at turkey hunting or something like that. Just to be known as one is, it's kind of like a doctorate in the South. I feel like it kind of comes with every name, like he's a turkey hunter. Like, oh, okay, so I'm going to listen to him a little more and doing this stuff like that. And probably take it with a grain of salt on everything else it says from that point.
Right.
We kind of know how to identify each other too.
Right, yeah.
We speak the same language.
Yeah.
Speaking of turkey hunters, what kind of a turkey hunter was your dad?
A good one.
Really
good ones.
Very traditional style, just old school guy, self-taught. He had one or two buddies he hunted with growing up, which I think, I'd love to get his story out there, how he got started and all that. But I've heard bits and pieces over the years.
Of your dad?
Of my dad. Like,
We need to get him on or on your podcast or everyone else.
We want to one day. I still haven't.
Just I haven't broke down and done it yet, kind of thing.
That'd be right.
Yeah, but I've heard bits and pieces of it, and it's a really cool story of how he got started, and he was ate up with it, and that was all he cared about, really. When it came to hunting, he was a woodsman. He was all around guy that just wanted to be outside like most of us do, And so it was just second nature to us. It felt like when it was kind of follow Dad around and do what he does, and you might be all right.
There's a lot of, you learn what not to do, because he was going to, yank his face mask down and tell you to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, last thing you want to do is mess something up, because it's so easy to do turkey hunting.
Right.
Especially you imagine being, younger.
Oh yeah.
I think I killed my first turkey. I might have been 7 or so. And then, and that kind of really, the spark of fire was really the first one. I remember like it being a big deal. Cause having to hunt, folks who go their first time and it works out and everything pans out perfectly and stuff. Those are the folks you're like, well, I hope you keep going, because it's hard to appreciate something that does, you kind of falls in your lap and stuff. So, but I remember hunting when I was younger, and it not, we didn't have nowhere to hunt necessarily too often. And just to get on one was a big deal. And then, with the growing pains of turkey hunting and the close calls and stuff to finally, it finally happened. It was a big deal. I still remember it very vividly. And then Chase and then our youngest brother Breck came along. So I got to kind of branch out by myself a little more and mess up and throw turkeys royal.
Oh yeah.
It's like a little 11-year-old out there. Like, I'm going to see how much I can call. And then find out real quick how much you can and can't call. But yeah.
I was the little brother, and I remember the first turkey that I was a part of successfully killing was I was asleep next to my dad, and I woke up to the gunshot, and I'm like, what in the world happened, And I was always just happy to be there following my brother and my dad. And then the first one he ever called in for me when I was on the gun, I had watched all the shows, right, all the VHSs and magazines and whatever, and Dad was back behind me, clucking, purring. He's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
And I remember turkey gobbled, came down a logging road full strut, and young me thought that was something only happened on TV.
Yeah.
That's not real life. And I just remember sitting there freaking out, and the turkey came up 15 yards, and there was one little branch covering his head, and he looked around it. Nowadays, you just shoot him, but I just thought, oh, there's this little thing in the way. Like, wait, I never even took my gun off safety.
Really?
He looked at me. I was sitting on a tree this big around,
Of course.
sticking out like a sore thumb. He looked at me, pitch gone. I never even took my safety off, and that was kind of like, I remember that moment because that was the moment I knew I was
Oh yeah.
ate up.
Yeah,
So
it's
kind of
just
similar like
crazy.
Georgia, Mississippi, same
Oh,
sound.
yeah,
very
same type of birds.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I just have so much respect for the wild turkey, and like I'll get mad at myself for expecting him to give me more than he's already like offered to me in terms of like shot opportunity and stuff. Like he's coming through, and I'm like, I'm getting ready. I'm like, if he could just make it that opening, I can definitely make this shot. But I want him to give me a little bit more of a strut or something. Like no, like.
Yeah.
That ain't, I don't shoot them in strut. Like, I don't get to see them strut too much anymore. I've learned you get one, you're lucky to get one opportunity. Something smart like that, they don't give you multiple opportunities. Like
That's
that.
what's challenging with filming too, is
Oh, yeah.
you're like, dang it.
What I loved in your book was like the ability that we have as turkey hunters to turn them into a mythological beast.
Yeah.
I remember my roommate in college, he had a turkey, shout out Jason Heathco, but one named Hank, and he was hunting them, and it was in Alabama on public land, and he killed him very late in the season, but he was dead convinced he was hunting the same turkey every single day. Was it the same turkey? Maybe, probably not, but that was Hank, and he got him done in a shadow box with Hank.
Oh yeah.
And it was just, that became such a mythological beast. He stood this tall,
It's such a relationship you can build with them. And like you said, like you'll never know if it's the same, but it's a lot funner to think it is. And to think that it's just a man versus a creature, and it's you develop this relationship. You've seen each other. He knows your call style. The way he walks and what he usually does and stuff like that, and start to expect it. And I find it something that I know that they'd be disappointed if I was not there trying to hunt them. They expected it, pretty regular. Like I get to wake up and beat this turkey hunter, and I'm sure he'd be disappointed if I didn't show. Wasn't at least trying some mornings.
To 100, I don't think I lose my enthusiasm.
Tell me this, because now having kids and everything, creating traditions is so important, and like having their experience as like to be something that they want to continue to do. When you guys were little, did your dad have any traditions of a morning or prepping for the night before or anything like that? Like, what did it look like when you get ready to go on a hunt in the morning?
What do we think of how we used to? I mean, there were several.
And what were your gear lists, and like what were you guys
Right.
packing and stuff like that too? Was it pretty simple?
Very simple stuff. He would always hunt in overalls, so I thought like you definitely like if somebody was wearing overalls, like they know what they're doing. Yeah, so that's a for sure. So I thought you had to hunt in overalls till I was like 20. I'm like, so we don't. This ain't like a.
So you have done it.
Okay, all right.
That's kind of like the boonie hat, the floppy hat. I always say either you're a killer or a dummy. It's one of the two. There's no middle
I
ground.
look like one, or you really are one, and you could always kind of tell. And I was like, his overalls probably looked like he was really wearing them, and I was like the guy who like were trying to copy all the things he did. They didn't fit and stuff, and like the crotch of it was like way down here and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Were they camo overalls or just plain?
They were, they were like the Carhartt material, like green leaf ones he had. That's still what he wears. Like,
Did you still have the, like same hair?
Apparel brand, and he still wears this.
He still wears those.
No.
Like, we tried getting him in it, and he's just like, I don't feel right.
No, this is what you're, and that's kind of how I am too. Is like, your cuffs on your gloves need to be long, and like usually from a gas station, and stuff like that. And your face mask is supposed to be a half mask. It's supposed to go, you're supposed to hang right here. It's supposed to smell like DEET. Even if you have thermocell, you're supposed to spray DEET on it so you breathe it.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, it's just part of turkey hunting. That's part. It's the smells and the senses and stuff like that. Just reminds you of, and that reminds me of hunting with him and what his turkey get up smell like between like stagnant mud from 1994 and DEET and stuff like that, and turkey feathers and everything. And that's been a big kind of tagline with our brand, is not subject to change. And I think it's just so cool that even with like deer hunting, duck hunting stuff, there is it's also there in that aspect, but with turkey hunting, because of the sounds, because the communication and stuff, the adrenaline and the sound of drumming behind you, and the feelings that you can go read a Colonel Kelly book and hear him, or a Gene Nunnery or something, and hear them talk about a hunt, And, you can relate to those feelings, however many years later, because that hasn't changed. The turkey's gobble has not changed. The sound of drumming and stuff has not changed. Their wits have not changed. So being able to like connect to the past and like even in personal experiences, connect to my 8-year-old self, that feeling felt then feels the same now. So I don't know of any way else you can kind of really, turn time linear in that fashion.
Yeah, I feel like God like really created the outdoors for us to be childlike, and like that's what the Bible says we're meant to become more like a child when we get closer we get to heaven, and I feel like that's like what the outdoors is there for. We're meant to have fun with it. With kids as well, and like taking your kids out hunting, what's that been like?
I have not yet, which I hunt mostly all public ground.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Mosquitoes.
well, I get a little janky, like a little ghetto out there, and I don't want to like have a little like 4-year-old running around with me if there's a confrontation mule. So, and the one little private spot we got is might as well be public. Is in Mississippi everything.
There's not enough. There's already enough pressure there, doesn't it?
Right. I hope they're still there when we get back by March 1st.
I carried Molly last spring. She was 1.5 to almost 2, and I had one coming down the gun barrel, and he gobbled, and she said,
I was shooting, by the way. I was like way away. They were hidden in the bushes.
We will tell you later.
And she heard the gobble, and she goes, "What's that?" And I just started laughing. She thought it was so cool though, because she was behind, like they were, Zach and her were like tucked in next to a tree, and Zach's got the mouse call, and then she pulls it out and she puts it in her mouth, and it was just like.
I mean, I was like 60 yards behind her. I figured that was a good enough buffer, right? It wasn't.
It was not. It was
so,
not.
With the brand, it's Mossy Oak's 40th year. So us being our age, me coming up in it, you guys being in it, we've had really good role models to look up to.
Right,
There's guys that they kind of paved the way for what we're doing, us and you guys. In 40 years, where do you see Spring Legion? Where do you see yourself?
40 days is hard enough. Right. 40 years, because I didn't have a plan for this.
We don't even know if we're gonna be here. I think Jesus is coming back.
Good, but no, I think I like what we're doing, and I like that the concept remains the same. I don't think we're gonna be, if we're not any bigger, that's okay.
Yeah.
But we've already kind of surpassed that. It's doing what I wanted it to do, and that's just kind of connect the younger generation to an older generation, and making sure nothing's lost. And I think it's actually, come here 5 years ago, the crowd looked a lot different. What was in their bags was a lot different. There was a lot more, it looks like a used car lot in here. There's like sales, banners everywhere, and guarantees or your money backs and stuff. That's kind of made its way out, thankfully. And it was a very pivotal time, was really kind of came about, was like folks are about to monetize the streaming era big time, and I didn't want to change that, but I at least wanted to, I couldn't say anything about it if I wasn't providing something in the return, at least a way for folks to hold on to what already is, and not, what is advancing, what is it, overcoming obstacles and creating obstacles to overcome and stuff like that. So just something that just celebrates turkey hunters and turkey hunting, period, and that's it. So I don't think that's going anywhere, but the means of was distributed, and it might change a little bit. That'd be it.
Who knows?
That's what I mean. There's been so much talk lately of legacy, like with Mr. Fox, and then with Colonel, and it's kind of funny to think about what it will look like in 40 years, like
really
with this crowd.
I hope it goes the direction it's going, because if there was a time that I was like, I hope it don't go an inch further than the direction it's going. I hope it turns around and goes back the other way. Now I think it's kind of going back the other way, and and honoring kind of where it has been, and not what everybody's racing to wherever it is going. You know?
Let's talk about the vest. You guys have had massive success with that at the show. When did you guys decide that you wanted to put your own vest out? And then like, what was the process of that whole like perfecting it, I guess?
Well, yeah, it was really and truly, it's like the mold of it, like the very base part of it is like a discontinued vest. Gary, Stan, and I, we got it off of like a fold out table here, like a no name kind of deal. I never seen another one, and like obviously couldn't find another one. But I remember thinking like, man, this vest goes out, like me and Gary are fine. So I was like, well, in the coming years, I'd like to, for us to have a vest. So I kind of cooked that one and made a ton of alterations to it, and wore it, and a ton of zip ties and cutting on it and stuff. And I'm like, so we're just going to kind of like add to it, and then we're also going to take away the stuff that I don't want, and made very minimalist or very kind of at the hands of the guy hunting. So like just making it like a 2-pound vest, like very, very light, and something that's not bulky, that's not going to get in the way of things and stuff. And you have the option to add other things on that's compatible with modern day stuff. but it's got a traditional look, and it's really nothing special at all. And if we can get it at a price point that's very reasonable, I'm cool with that. Sacrificing money and stuff, and that's the advantage of not having to pay a bunch of other folks.
Yeah.
The margins can be much lower and stuff, and that's some of the stuff I don't know if I would buy it, and I'm like, no, they would be dumb for me to cut the cost down to here because like the competition is way up here and stuff. But I'm like, I can't do that. If I couldn't do it, I don't expect other folks to do it, regardless kind of deal. So if I can't make it to where that's reasonable, if I figure out a way to get it, and here's a normal folks, because I love that about turkey hunting. This turkey hunting is coming. We weren't financially blessed at all growing up, so we turkey hunt was a good outlet because it was pretty cheap in respect to the land stuff and like having duck holes and stuff like that. And deer hunting, is you got to have the land and the equipment to make it something special and stuff. We like our dad ran dogs. Right. I don't think it was on our own property. Try to run them onto our property back in like the 90s and stuff. I don't think that was illegal, but my name. But
That's what I love about a turkey is a poor man's turkey is the same as a rich man's turkey. Or he's a turkey.
And that's that so we're kind of like leveled that playing field a little bit. So like allowed us to participate a little more in turkey hunting. So it's a minimal thing. You need a shotgun, like a couple calls, and like go find a turkey to hunt. There's opportunities to go find one to hunt. You don't have to have too much stuff on top of that. So,
I got one of the vests because I told him yesterday, I said, I tend to be pretty minimal too. And I heard an older guy talking about how he has all the different calls. Nothing against that, but he said, I got 40 different hens in my vest. I said, if I can't kill them with 3, we're in trouble.
And that's something Mr. Tucker told us. We're on the Game Butcher podcast one time. He's like, you could sound exactly like a real hen or even be a real hen, and he don't choose you, so you just be one at a time and hope you're the right one. And if you sound better than the real hen, and he still don't choose you. Every time you do call, he's not choosing a real hen.
Oh yeah.
No matter how realistic you sound, you just got to create those scenarios. And I'm big on whispership and reading the room and turkey temps and stuff like that. We talk about on our podcast all the time, and being able to figure out, what is needed and offering what is needed, and avoiding the duplication with higher hopes of just, running through all 40 hens and seeing that they all sound right. Well, maybe nothing at all is the call he needs in his pocket. That's the one he's not using. That's what's going to actually bring the turkey in there is silence or something of that nature.
All right, guys, I have a confession to make. I have a terrible sense of direction, and it's no wonder I haven't got lost in the woods or eaten by a bear at this stage, but there's a reason for that, and it's because I have Onyx Hunt. Onyx Hunt is incredible. It's an incredible mapping feature, and it has helped me navigate my way out of some pretty sketchy areas using the compass feature. I've been able to get back to my truck. I've been able to drop pins and waypoints to be able to coordinate how to get to A to B, to be able to find that turkey that I saw on the road and knock and get permission. Guys, though, if you really want to know who's a fanatic at dropping pins, it's my husband, Zach. If you look in his phone, he has thousands of these pins. If it was the 1920s, he'd be able to trade them and get some money out of them. But don't take my opinion. Go and download Onyx today and check it out for yourself. Good luck this fall.
What are your boys' plans for the spring?
Start in Mississippi, and that's kind of as far as he got. Now,
I asked him that earlier, said, wait till tomorrow.
24 hours from now, I can start thinking about it. But if I start thinking about it now, yeah, there's going to be a lot of rat nets going on.
Do you guys usually just kind of plan it out as it goes? Yeah.
Right.
I plan a lot by the weather, so I've learned that if you're going to
native way, go with the wind.
Yeah, literally, just like if the weather's not great over here, don't go over there. I did try to plan a lot of stuff before, and it did not line up right, and I was like just wasting time and money trying to do something I wanted to happen that, I didn't want to happen. You can't make a turkey gobble. If they're not feeling it in an area, go. I try to stay where they're hot at.
When you guys are on like for example, that property in Alabama where we're hunting, like when do you guys cut something off if it's not happening?
Always too late for me.
Yeah, normally too late. I'm bad about getting hung up on a spot and staying there as long as I can.
I have
it's normally as many days as I have to hunt on. Yeah. And then I'll go home.
See if I can outsmart him.
Yeah.
If I can't.
It does get personal and stuff. Like I try to have some rules of thumb. Like I'm not going to leave a gobbling turkey to go find one I hope will gobble.
Yeah.
If I don't know where one is, I don't know where he is even more than I know where this one is. I at least have a better shot at this one. But at the same time, after a while, if I know of other turkeys, areas, or if I got more areas I can hunt,
The grass is always greener.
I'll go give it a shot. I already know what the outcome of this one has been.
Yes.
So at least go try another one, and especially if I can come back,
Yeah, like I mentioned Hank earlier, I try to avoid Hanks.
Oh yeah, if they have a name, I
I don't want to.
I just go to another county.
Yeah, I've learned that. Like sometimes you just gotta know when to fold them. Be like, all right, ruin somebody else's day.
Yeah.
When it comes to Mississippi, because you guys grew up in it, what would you say are like maybe some conservation highlights that people should know about?
From Mississippi.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the most recent would be the turkey stamp thing is be it.
Yeah.
I think I saw Adam Butler in the scoreboard another day. I'm like, oh, I did not expect to see you here. I remember talking to him like several years ago about it. Sent him an email about, what's it going to take to do a turkey stamp. And this, I think it was right after Arkansas might have.
Right.
Or somebody did. And he was like, brother, it's already in the works. Like, that takes that long of a process to get it to where y'all know about it and stuff. So I was like, willing to help, can we help get that out there? So I suppose we'll stop like thinking
The
about
government's
doing
slow.
I think, yeah. Maybe that's just a Mississippi thing, but it's probably everywhere. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And for the sake of knowing who's hunting turkeys, just and doing some common sense stuff like that, legislation wise, and making it easier on the folks making these decisions and allocating the dollars and stuff like that. It's giving them the data, and they do goblin surveys every year, doing stuff like that. And that's ways we're able to kind of, in a personal, answer is folks who don't own land or can't burn, go walk out to national parks and start, doing habitat work on it and stuff like that, or I don't think you can trap out there. We got the one little lady here because we ain't got a freaking coon on it.
Yeah. Wear it out.
We got like 3 dog proofs on like per little section of 10 acres, and like they don't stand a chance because that's the only place we could trap.
Yeah.
We got to bring the fur market back.
I wish we could. If it'd do numbers for the wild
yeah, I
turkey
mean,
if they had a good fur market again.
Supporting stuff like the NWTF and everything. That's our best. Our dollars spent best that way. I mean, honestly, really agree with it or not, like that's our best option is doing stuff like that to contribute in that sense, and really just advocating for turkey hunting culture as it is, and kind of being within the quote unquote industry and kind of like maybe a speed bump to some degree of like the direction it can go, and just something to just constantly keep the same mission, the same vision, and the same heritage that it has been, and not everybody who doesn't try to push it so forward so fast and make everything instant and guaranteed. I think it's doing a little bit for conservation whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a platform to do that.
For sure. Tell me this. I'm going to wrap this up with it's kind of well, actually, first I've got one more.
Okay.
Are you guys hunting together in the spring?
A good bit.
Do you hunt well together?
We're
Getting better.
yeah.
Is it a peacock fest?
I punched my brother in the face turkey head one time.
We hadn't done that.
We hadn't done that at least in a long time.
Yeah. Done that just like
Um,
2021, I think.
Right. Now we'll tell each other like it is pretty hard.
Yeah.
So I mean,
We hunt very differently. Not very differently, but differently.
yeah, differently enough to that it's kind of like recently we've got to where if you're on the gun, the other guy's following.
Yeah.
Don't mess me up kind of
Yeah.
deal. And it's because the way I hunt is a little different, so much different than the way he hunts. And like, so if I question something of his, he's like, hey, we need to move. And if I say like, I don't think so, that messes the whole thing up. And then
For sure.
we might as well just go back to the truck. Cause
So
that's
it's just respecting each other's like way, and whoever's on the gun, it's like they're the leader.
Yeah.
For yeah.
That is just kind of a lot of times that reconsideration is it. Like if there's a doubt, that's the answer. Like no, you got to know it and do it, and like be okay with it, and just have confidence that you're going to make the best decision with the info you have available, and be okay with the result if that's the case. You
Well-
start starting to second guess of it. You'll be there analysis by paralysis stuff.
And if you don't trust your gut, and then the
Right.
other person's opinion is wrong, then that will
Oh, you
really
won't hear
ruin
about
your
it.
day.
You won't hear about it.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we fought.
I can imagine.
Yeah, hunting together as a husband and wife is challenging.
I believe it. I believe it.
100%.
Peyton stayed along with me. She was way better than I thought she was gonna be, and it went smoother than I thought it was gonna be. But it was kind of like interesting. I'm like, okay, here we go.
When it pays off, it's awesome because you're
Yeah.
like, you've got your best friend there to celebrate. But sometimes it's like,
When they shoot one out from under you, it's not as good.
Right.
Yeah,
My
yes.
bad.
When they pre-predict your behavior and then shoot the bird, that's
Yeah.
not good.
And I'm guilty to an extent of like, I know what that bird's probably gonna do, and not just with my wife or whatever, but like I know what treat is it, and I'm like, if we're both hunting, we're both got free, kind of range of motion there and stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna just naturally sit on the left side, and then I can't help it if the turkey walks left, but no, we were in Kentucky with my wife and I had shot one that morning. You only get one a day, and she might have hunted. She wasn't convinced she was going to, and then I was like, there is another turkey back there if you want to go try it, and then we did, and like she'd only hunted a few times. She could tell she was like, you don't use it to do this kind of deal, like just making him go, like he's hung up. And she's like, but don't you say on podcasts like you fight, go do this and get higher than him and stuff? And I'm like, no, not these turkeys. These are different turkeys, yeah. And then finally I was like, all right, we'll try it one time. And as soon as we did, I'm like trying to like hurry so we can like not get a goblin, get out of there so I come back the next morning. So I knew what he was gonna do the next morning. And I'll be dang, like we didn't get out there in time. And like she was like, I think I hear him down there. I'm like, that's probably just some raccoon or whatever. He hammers down at the foot where we just were. Like it did what he was supposed to. I just wish he would have done tomorrow when I was up here. So I'll like kill one, but it's okay. It was fun. But she definitely caught on too. She was like, you're definitely throwing this game right here,
I love it. All right, last question, boys. It's kind of a deep one. What do you want to be remembered for?
Pretty much if I can get remembered for being a good guy and a good dad, good husband, a good friend, brother, and a guy who strives to be like Jesus as much as possible, and lets folks in when they need it, kind of deal,
Yep. I'm gonna kind of second that, and just as long as I'm a good friend to all, that's all I care about. And help others where you can, and make up for it when you can't. So.
A lot of us grew up with Field and Stream, dreaming about our next cast, our next hunt, and our next outdoor escape. And now you can read the best of outdoor storytelling the way it was meant to be read. Field and Stream is back in print. For a limited time, new members get a bonus journal with their first delivery, and premium members also get a members-only hat. This special offer is only available for a limited time, so join the 1871 Club today and head to fieldandstream.com/1871club. Country Outdoors is proud to partner with Yingling, the oldest brewery in America since 1829 and the official light lager of the outdoors.
Hey guys, and we are back. I am with Austin Collins. He's the founder and host of Quack Shack Podcast. Austin and I met a few years ago and love what you've been doing.
We appreciate it.
Wanted to get you on and have a chat. There's a lot of paths that are crossed, even though we're in different kind of spaces you're focusing on. Well, you can speak to that. Is it migration of the waterfowl, or let's actually go back. Where are you from in Texas?
Just outside of Tyler, Texas,
Yeah.
which is 2 hours east of Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little small town.
What was life for you like growing up?
So originally I'm from Dallas, but I've been in East Texas in Tyler area for about 10 years. But I just grew up in the outdoors, whether it was deer hunting, hog hunting, rodeo, the ranch life. So I've always been outside.
Were you a bull rider?
No, my dad was.
Really?
Yeah, he wouldn't let me do it. I was too involved in sports, and
Wow.
he said he got banged up, so he said you stick to baseball, Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you grew up, how long did you play baseball for?
Till my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a scholarship to go play somewhere else, but I decided to go elsewhere and, start my life and go to college. And so, yeah.
When did you know you want to pursue a career in outdoors?
Well, that's a great question. 2017, I had a clothing brand back in the day that we sold all kinds of different merchandise. And
What was it called?
Take 'em Foul.
Okay.
And so we did that for about 4 years. And, I met a lot of people back then. And I always loved coming to these conventions and meeting a lot of people, at boat ramps and all the people within the industry. I've got a lot of really good friends that I met, 10 years ago in the industry. So Probably then. I didn't know if I wanted to do it full time, but I loved what I was doing.
You
know?
like being in it when you were there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
When did you start, like, obviously you hunt everything, but when did you like get really mad at ducks?
So at 15 years old, I was in high school. A buddy of mine that I went to school with introduced me to it. So, and it's just like they say, I was bit by the bug that day. And, I deer hunted a little bit after that, maybe a year or so after that, but just really dialed in on ducks at 15. Like I said, it just bit by the bug. I really enjoyed it and everything about it, and getting to hunt with my buddies. And I did that for several years. And then I was watching the Outdoor Channel one day, and, you see all these deer hunting shows, back, especially like 10 years ago, or they're just traveling, shooting deer. And I was like, dude, we could definitely do this duck hunting. And I never thought about it. And so ever since then, we just hitting the road everywhere.
So when did you guys, like, what did you go and buy? Did you go and buy like a camera? Did you have a podcast like set? Like, how did you guys do it to start with?
So the kind of transition from the clothing brand into the podcast, we lacked getting content to promote our brand. I mean, we had people that would promote it, but we wanted some internal, somewhat high quality stuff. And I was just into podcasting and decided, I could do this. I really enjoy it. I could talk to a brick wall about, whatever. And so we just really, the first couple of years, it was audio only. So we went and I kind of did it, I guess, the best way, but maybe not the smartest way. I bought some of the best, most expensive stuff you could do.
Yep. Yep.
But till this day, we use most of that equipment.
Yeah.
But yeah. I went out and just bought the podcast equipment and started the business. I guess that same year, which kind of took over the clothing brand, and I kind of got burnt out on doing that because the podcast was surprisingly doing well.
Yeah.
We didn't think it was gonna do as good as it did, especially year one.
How long? Yeah, I was gonna say to you, like, was there one particular episode that like did really well that kind of kicked it off, or was it just the consistency? How often were you sharing episodes in that period?
So, like the first 2 years, it was every week.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
In the first 2 years.
Yeah,
Really.
the first 2 years every week, and I think the consistency.
Yeah.
I give a lot of the podcast success to the relationships that I had built. So we were fortunate enough to have sponsors on year one, right? Diving into it just based off those relationships that we had built. So I get a lot of success to some of my partners back then. That one of them is still with us till this day.
Which one?
VPC Lanyards out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
I like to give them that success too, because like year one going into something new like that.
They were supporting something that didn't exist.
Yeah, like we had never done a podcast,
Yeah.
They took a gamble on us. So, and from then on out, the consistency and the relationships, I guess we were entertaining, but I think those two are the most important to me.
What year was that?
So that would be COVID year. We were really officially kicked it off January 1st of 21. We had pre-recorded some episodes, and January 4th, 2021 was episode 1. Yeah.
And was this all in Texas?
Like
were you
at the beginning?
Were you traveling and filming as you were going?
No, so the beginning was just audio over
Just
the
sit
phone
down. Okay.
with
Yeah.
people all over the country.
Yeah.
Had a guy from Russia on one time that spoke broken English.
How did that happen? Like, you just found him on he had commented on something, or?
Yeah, I don't really remember how. I think he might have reached out to us because I guess he found our podcast over there, and was very interested in speaking and wanted to. Apparently, at the time he had a TV show in Russia.
Yeah.
That was like some hunting related, right? But he worked with a lot of the American brands.
Yeah.
Too. So, but yeah, just audio only back in the day.
Yeah.
And our quite literally the Quack Shack in my backyard, like a shed.
Yeah.
Is what we started in, and kind of, where we got the name from too.
And so, tell me about like the transition and your co-host.
Right.
Yeah.
So the transition, Jackson is my co-host. So I had Jackson Kinsey on the podcast. We grew up together. His sister and my wife, now we're best friends for a long time. And
Did they have a falling out?
no.
They were best friends for a long time.
No, they just grew apart,
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
school.
I'm getting into the juice now.
Yeah. No, they just kind of grew apart after that,
Yeah.
And
but back in the day, they were like, yeah.
yeah, so
It's a piece of the pie.
he's like 4 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And we had, not seen each other in years. And I told him, or I met him in Tyler one day, just walking into a store. And I knew he had been duck hunting his whole life and really enjoyed it. And I have been, I'd gotten into it at that point, I guess, 10 years. And I said, hey, dude, I started a podcast. You want to come on? And I said, I can talk to a brick wall, but he could quite literally, and I've seen it happen, talk to a brick wall. Like, very knowledgeable. He's super smart. So we vibe with each other. When I start failing, he picks up, vice versa. So, and the transition from going to audio, from audio only into quite literally going to 14 states the very next year, we partnered with a company that is Mallard Bay. I'm sure you're familiar with them. They had a platform with a bunch of outfitters, and we worked out a deal for where they hired us to go and get content for them. So we filmed our show. We filmed a hunting video or fishing video wherever we were, and produced it, put it out, and then we gave them the footage to chop up. So that kind of,
So you weren't editing, you were giving them the footage?
so we had a full-time cameraman and editor.
Okay.
A friend of a friend that was in college.
Yeah.
And he
so you were
loved-
getting it at like a discount rate.
Right. He's a college kid,
Yeah.
and really wanted to get into the industry.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is because like I know the cost of like editors
Oh yeah.
and all of that stuff, and so I was like, what did this look like then?
Yeah.
Was it like it was young kids that had taught themselves how to do this stuff and were like, yeah, I want to be a part of this. This is cool. I want to get experience.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
exactly how it went.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is him being young and having a background in filming and editing, right? You can like start watching from video one until the last video that he produced, and you could see the progress. Oh, you can see the progress every episode, which was super cool. This is a very good looking man right here. Such a good guy too. But it's because like I've went back and watched that, and like when we put out episodes, I don't watch them. I kind of proof, like I'll go through when we upload it
Yeah.
on YouTube. I'll go and like
Yeah.
scroll. This is my guy. He's the brains. So like I trust him. But you can go back and watch like every episode evolve, which
Yeah.
is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that, and I totally get that too. We started as audio in 2019, and then in 2022, 23, I took it back over from OSG and turned it into video.
Yeah.
And then we were bi-weekly, and doing videos bi-weekly, and then reels and all of that stuff, and then went weekly. So I get it.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. It's a lot. But I love what I do. But I also
Absolutely.
understand like the business side behind it
Yeah.
and all that goes into that, even down to, you probably as your show has grown, you're like, okay, so like quality like of the shots and like making sure the cameras, like the camera angles and all of that stuff. And like even in terms of like the reels that you're deciding to use and the cuts and the importance of that, and like having people in your team that also understand that.
Exactly.
And also understand like how to cut a reel for social media.
Right.
Like if you don't have great lighting, how to deal with that, or
Right.
audio and all that stuff.
Yeah. You know exactly how it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I mean, I would say both of our platforms are totally different from what anybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And so like, for instance, our content, like, yes, we put out a hour long, 45 minutes to an hour and a half long podcast every 2 weeks, but also we put out a full edited hunt video
Yeah.
the week after.
Yeah.
But also we put out a reel that takes 6 hours to make for the podcast.
Yeah.
And a reel that takes 6 hours to make for the hunt video.
Yep.
And then chopping it up to promote it.
Yep.
You know? So it's a lot. And we have a very small team.
Yeah. So do we.
Yeah. And I don't think I'd have it any other way.
No.
Maybe one day we'll have to.
The thing that I have noticed is the more that you like delegate out things, the more watered down it gets.
Yeah.
And if you've got a team of people that are very good, then you don't need a whole bunch of people. You just need people that are good, and you need to give them breaks when they need a break.
Exactly.
And they need to know that they're valued.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And appreciated. And so like,
Yeah.
because we know like Ty here, wherever Ty's back here.
Yeah.
Ty and I, like on the last, when we went video, him and I really worked together really hard on like perfecting how it should look, what the reels, like what the reels should look like, all of this stuff. And like,
Right.
I couldn't give that to somebody else at this point. Like I could, but like, and Zach,
It's hard.
but like trying to have that same dialogue with somebody, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like, and then somebody else does it. And then
Yeah.
you're like, I don't like how that looks.
Exactly.
Or like, I don't like how they edited that.
Yeah.
And those reels, they're not like emotional for me. Like, I don't like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard because like I'm sure like myself, you're a visionary, and
Yeah.
you like when you film something and you're getting ready to chop it up and produce it, like you have a vision of what
Yeah.
it looks like. And I've been blessed because my guy DJ, we kind of think alike when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So it's very fortunate to where for the longest time, I would give my input, you know, and I still do.
And
when
now
I
that
need
you
to.
can trust it a bit more, so it takes some pressure off your plate.
Yeah, and I think it takes pressure off of him too, you know, because I'm not sitting there like, hey,
Critique.
can we do this? Now, every once in a while, there's
Yeah.
something, but like for the
Yeah.
most part,
Yeah.
he knows exactly what I'm
Yeah.
thinking, which
Yes.
is crazy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you probably as well, when you're like finished with a shot, be like, oh, that was really cool that they brought that up. Like that'll make a really great reel. And so like, it doesn't need to be another conversation about it because the person that you're working with is good.
Right.
And they heard that and you both discussed it.
Yeah, it's all on collaboration, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Since 1973, the National Wild Turkey Federation has been working tirelessly to conserve the wild turkey and to preserve our hunting heritage. Today, the need for hunters to get involved is just as important as the wild turkey is facing declines, and the continuation of our outdoor pursuits are at risk in many parts of the country. Visit nwtf.org and join for just $35 to leave a lasting legacy that will help conserve wildlife and unite a nation through life-changing power of the outdoors.
So you guys, like the last year, you've been doing the tours, you've been having a lot more like bigger personalities and stuff like that on.
Yeah.
And athletes and things like that. So like what is your goal right now? And like what have been some of the more exciting episodes that you've had and people that you've had on that you were like, that was really cool?
Well, I mean, honestly, you know, the goal is to do this full
Independently,
time
yeah.
independently, right?
Yeah.
And at a bigger level than we are now. We're at a stage where we can maintain what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but we can maintain it very well. But like our next step is 6 steps up. Right?
So do you think that means a like distribution deal?
I think it can mean several different
Or
things.
it could be big sponsor,
Right.
distribution deal, or that's it, right? Like
Right.
it's one or the others. It's either you're
Right.
getting like a massive sponsor or several massive sponsors or distribution deal.
Yeah,
with a big distribution.
I think between the two, it would be a distribution deal because we're very fortunate to work with some big brands. Sika is one of our main sponsors, Onyx,
Yeah.
you know, so we have some really good sponsors. And I think the next step would be some type of distribution deal.
PR.
Yeah, PR, which we've been looking into I've had several different meetings over the past year and a half, and there's several different avenues that are very highly potentially going to happen. It just, whatever makes sense. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
God will present the right opportunity at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to talk about fatherhood,
Yes.
being a hunter and like how that's changed your life and how that's shaped your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up hunting on my grandfather's land with my dad, all my cousins. my uncles would meet, and I got to witness that, right? Like I get to, I would help clean everybody's deer, at every chance I got, and then going into duck hunting and having a huge passion for it because my family wasn't duck hunters. We were just deer hunters and pig hunters. But like, I never really saw this coming, right? At 15 years old and I don't think besides my family and some other things in life, like I've never been so attached to something. And I mean, you know how it is. Like it's so much fun. And also the people that we get to meet too, right? Like yourself. But it's definitely, and as I get older, right? Like now I've got kids, to answer your question. And to see them like actually be passionate, show passion for it is because I don't push my kids to do anything. I never played soccer, but my kids love soccer.
Yeah.
So like it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I didn't force them I started taking them hunting when they were 2.5. So just because I wanted those memories. And if they
Decide that you want to.
if I get home tomorrow and they're like, I don't ever want to hunt again, it might break my heart.
Yeah.
But like,
But I'm not gonna let them know that.
I'm not gonna let them know that. I don't want to be that parent.
Yeah.
But as of right now, my 4-year-old, which turns 5 in 10 days, I got to take my wife and I might cry here. I got to take my wife and both my boys hunting for the first time, and my 4-year-old, we didn't shoot a bird, and he said, "This is so much fun." Like all on his own. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool. My 7-year-old likes it. He doesn't love it though. So
I get it.
It is what it is.
I get it. It's
Yeah.
like just seeing like the magic light up in their eyes, and you have to you're reminded that like they're experiencing this for the first time.
yeah,
And all the things that we try to fill our lives with,
Yeah.
all this noise and void, and they're just like on the most simplistic level enjoying God's creation and thinking, this is so cool. And
right.
I had AJ Buckley on here earlier, and we were talking about that. And I've actually had this conversation quite a few times this week on like with the Spring Legion guys too, on like, God wants us to become more like a child, like as we enter heaven. And also children are the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
Right. And like I feel like the outdoors truly is like he made that for us to be kids in and have fun in.
Yeah.
And like it's just like the best thing. And it's why the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't want to have a phone when I'm out there.
Right.
I really just want to, and which is challenging
Very.
when you're a content creator, but you need to have those times where you're just there with your kids and you're just present
Absolutely.
and just enjoying it.
Yeah, it was cool. So I got, I've taken my wife hunting, and I've taken my oldest son hunting and my youngest son hunting, but that was like our first family hunt. Didn't shoot a bird, but it was so much fun.
How'd you prepare for it? Was it early morning or afternoon?
It was early morning and it was super cold. So
So what did you do like early in the morning with the hot chocolate? Like how did you get this whole thing going?
we had hot chocolate. We camped out the night before, made s'mores.
Oh, stop. This is really sweet.
Did some cool, just made a fire, hung out. And then we had some hot chocolate my wife made. And then, I carried everything. We're fortunate to have some private land for when we're home and not on the road.
Yeah.
So I carried everything in, got it all set up while they stayed in the truck, and then came and took them and got them set up, you know what I mean? And it was a good time. Like I said.
What were you hunting from?
Huh?
What were you hunting from? Were you in like?
It was like a little oxbow lake that we have on this piece of property and some trees. So we were hunting from the bank.
Okay.
Yeah. So luckily this place is like 90% you hunt from like in the trees or in the bank. So like it was super easy.
Easy.
Yeah. But it was fun. But kind of goes back to like, I'm so like hardcore when it comes to when we're hunting.
Yeah.
And to do everything that we can to be successful, but also like get the proper shots to produce
Yeah,
something
because you're
worth
spending so much
watching.
time and energy and money. But then when it comes to the kids, it's like, Yeah, like it'd be great, but like as long as they're having fun.
And that's that was cool to do that because like I don't even think I took a single picture. I let my wife do that.
Yeah.
But I got to watch them have fun, and which is super cool because like they're our number one fans. Like I put a video out and they're the first person to watch it. Like without me, because I don't watch our stuff back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool.
I don't think Molly has any idea what we do yet, which is hilarious.
New Field and Stream pack provisions, dog food, treats, and supplements fuel your dog's focus, strength, and stamina for your next outdoor adventure. Because your dog works hard and their food should too. Load up on Field and Stream pack provisions at Tractor Supply or learn more at packprovisionspet.com.
Oh yeah, I think she likes it.
Field and Stream Pack Provisions dog food. Guide rated, adventure ready.
So what have you guys got coming up like this spring?
This spring we'll probably do a couple turkey hunts. We have our pipeline is full. We have about 10 episodes that are
Pre-shot.
that are going to come out. That'll probably get us to June.
Yep.
So we'll probably just relax and not to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Till June, and then that's when it's going to kick off for us again. But right now we're in the middle of building a studio to kind of mitigate traveling as much during the off season.
Yeah.
And then hit it hard and during season. But
Are you doing the studio at your house?
so we at our shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a second story in our shop that we're gonna build a studio out.
Yeah.
And kind of just hang out.
It's great, like, because then, like, you can have people there. You can always be doing the one-on-one episodes, and discussing different things. And it's like, I feel like it's good to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
It's good to be standing on your own 2 feet. When and if something else comes along, then it's there. But like, still being able to stand on your own 2 feet is so important.
Oh, for sure.
As a creator,
sure.
content creator.
Yeah, and I mean the reason that we're building the studio out is because 3 years ago when we first started our tour, we have been on the road like
Yeah.
for 3 years straight.
I get it. We started the turkey tour in 2020.
Yeah.
And we were like Montana and back every turkey season, just like hitting the ground. And I get the burnout.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is the first year that I've ever felt the burnout.
Yeah.
It was like a month before duck season when our travel really starts. We were going somewhere twice a month all summer, all spring and summer, and then leading into the fall. And then here comes duck season where it's our prime travel. We're logistics that we've been working out all year long to meet with these people and shoot with these people, and it's time to go. And I was like, I'm not ready. I don't even want to. I'm going to.
Yeah.
But I'm so like self-motivated and strong-minded to where it like didn't take much. I mean, honestly, we shot the first duck and I was like, all right, let's go. I'm ready to be gone for 4 months. But no, it's been fun. But yeah, we're gonna build the studio out to kind of mitigate traveling so much during the off season.
Well, especially when you've got kids. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like just being at home is so important too. And it changes a lot when you have kids. Like
Absolutely.
you were saying, like, this is the first year that you got the burnout. For me, I think it was at the end of Molly's first year, because we had done it since 2020 and then up until really the start of 2025.
Yeah.
And not just turkey season, year round, in the camper,
Exactly.
all over the country. And I was just like, now I've got a 1-year-old. Like, I want stability for her. I want to go on the road when I want to go on the road
Yeah.
and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like, she's about to start crawling. We're in a camper. I can't be on the road all this time.
Yeah.
I'm physically exhausted as a mother.
Yeah.
Like it takes so much emotionally and mentally, like, to be a present parent. And then I was trying to keep my career afloat too. And so I was just like, we need to restructure this so
Yeah.
we can do more from home base
Yeah.
and then come into Nashville when we're going to come into Nashville and then be selective about those hunts. We don't need to do 15 turkey hunts. We can do 6 good turkey hunts.
Exactly.
And really like make use of those hunts. Like, we know we're going now down South Florida. How many people are hunting? Okay, that's how many birds we're hoping to get. But like, what else can we get out of that trip?
Right.
Like, do more on the cooking side, do more on like the wild side, all of that stuff. And like, how many more episodes can you get out of that rather than being like bing bong, bing bong, bing bong bong.
Yeah.
I don't regret any of that because like it was way where we're at now. It was a great experience, and I did it when I didn't have a baby, so like great. But I also get like, if you feel that in your spirit, God's telling you to listen to it.
Yeah.
Adjust a little bit. You got little kids, 5 and under. They need their dad around a bit more.
Yeah.
Good thing. you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too, because like talking about being a mother, my wife, Jackson's wife, DJ, our cameraman's wife, couldn't ask for better women for all three of us to have, right? And we've all three been with our wives for a long time too. So they are so supportive, and they, you know, we're living our dream, trying to build something that we all love and are all very equally passionate about.
Yeah.
So very fortunate to be able to do what we can and what we do, you know, because of our wives, you know. And we've started over the past year kind of bringing them in to that world a little bit, as much as they want to, especially me, because my wife asked me to. She wanted to. She has. I saw it. She deer hunted a little bit when we first got together, but this is like the first year she was like really involved in it. I took her several times last year, but this year she was ate up with it.
I can tell you something. Like I did for end of season Mississippi a couple weeks back. It was the first like time that I'd really just gone. Like I really hadn't been hunting much this fall at all. I shot a really nice stag in the middle of the year. Then I was really focusing on this podcast launch with Field and Stream.
Yeah.
So my fall was
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. So the fall was very slow for me, and it was the like last day of season, and Zach's like, go sit, don't take a camera, wear what you want to wear, make your coffee, all of this stuff, and just go and like have time. And so I went. I had my kitchen slippers on. I had a blanket with me. I had a cappuccino that I made from my machine in the house. And I was like in literally like home wears.
Yeah.
I think I had like a Mossio hoodie or something on, but it was like pajamas from there down, sitting in a shooting house. And I just sat there, and I didn't see anything. It was freezing cold, but I was like, man, I needed this as a mom.
Yeah.
Just the time alone.
Yes.
You know, just
Some
like
peace and
4
quiet.
hours just
Yeah.
by myself, just sitting there, just like around the pines, the smell of fresh air,
Yeah.
just talking to God.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, you know what? Like, I don't care if I shoot anything. Like, this is really what it's about. And like, I'll get excited if something comes out, but like, I needed this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
for any of the moms out there, hunting is not just about hunting. It's about getting a break too.
That's right, dude. Shout out to the moms.
I love it.
Yeah.
2 more questions that I like to ask people.
Yeah.
What is an outdoor tradition that you hope never dies?
Taking my kids. Yeah. And Cortland, he has a kid. So taking our kids, it's always fun. It's a hassle sometimes, but
Yep.
it's so much fun.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'll do it every day if we have, if they want to. Yeah.
It's good.
Taking the kids.
I love it. And then my last one is, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to obviously be remembered as a good father, that I did everything that I could to open doors for my kids. That's why I do all this at the end of the day. Taking my kids, or be known as a good father, known as I was a good father. And then also, to be honest, I don't do this for nothing. I would do it for my kids, to create some type of legacy that my kids can once, one day maybe take over, whether it's Quack Shack or something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that I can pass down to them that has some meaning to it,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's my answer. I've never had to answer that question, so thank you for that.
It's a great
Yeah.
answer. Austin, thank you so much for
Yeah.
stopping by. And we'll keep up with you, Quack Shack Podcast, guys. You can go and watch them on YouTube, watch their hunting episodes, go and stream them on all podcasting platforms, and keep up with everything that they've got going on throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Right here we all thank heaven for God's grocery store.